Hi everyone, I'm Bev Adamo, owner and CEO of Wild and Wise Enterprises and Wild and Wise Women. Here today talking with DrBeth Halbert. Hi, Dr. Beth.
Hello, Bev.
And I'm really excited about this because I want to hear the story. I don't think I've heard the whole story because this is the story of your coming out. And I can't wait to hear what you're going to tell us. Before we do that, though, I've got some information here about who you are that I also kind of know about, and at the same time, I want to make sure everybody knows about. So stay tuned, people, because this is very cool. And I'm going to read this because this is incredible. So, Dr. Beth, wow, you're America's teenologist. Love that. You're a licensed child and family psychologist, master's in adult education for thousands of leading executives such as General Motors, VW of America, J.D. Powers and Associates, American Family Insurance, and hundreds of small and middle-sized family-owned businesses. TV shows, my gosh, Mom's Choice best-selling book, Embracing Defiance, radio shows, you've got this incredible dance party that's been going on, amazing friends, you're popular and famous, loved, educated keynote speaker on national TV, oh my gosh, a songwriter, singer, CD, producer, etc. Woo! Wow. Okay, so how did you get here? I mean, that's like amazing. That's all that in one, not even a whole lifetime yet. How did you get here?
Well, all that was last month. And so, oh, it has not always been fun, Dr. Beth.
Okay.
I spent the first part of my life trying to prove I needed to be here. And why I should be here, and that I was worthy to be here. And I almost literally killed myself doing all of those things. When I got my doctoral degree, I actually was doing my pre-doc, my post-doc, my licensure, working full-time, and did all of that, my dissertation and everything, all at the same time. There was one, I guess it was about 2 or 3 month period that I slept 2 hours a night. On Sundays, I would sleep hard. But even when I was in college and master's and doctorate, I would work round the clock, round the weekends, go. And then I would take a break, have a vacation, and get sick. I mean, you could almost set your clock. And the only reason I would get sick is because that was the only way I'd give myself a break.
Got it.
So when I figured that one out, that was a cool aha.
Very much so, yes.
But when I started out, I'm going to go backwards in time. When I started out, I had the most adorable mom and dad. I'm going to call them the perfect family. And one of these days, I'm going to write a book called The Hell of Being Raised by a Perfect Parent. And I say that tongue in cheek, and I say it seriously, because when your parent gives you everything, there's an unwritten, unconscious, not intended rule that you're supposed to pay it back.
Really?
Oh yeah. You didn't get that memo?
No.
Well, I got that memo, and that may have just been my story. But many of the kids that I talk to, they get it. Because there's an unconscious thing like, I've given my life to you, now you owe me. And what owe me means, you owe me happiness. You owe me to smile. You owe me to take care of, you owe me to look successful so that I look good after I've given my entire life to make you have all the things that you've had. Now I need you to look good for me. And some of these experiences actually never die. I remember a couple of weeks ago, and I was actually talking to you, Beth, when I was in a complete and total meltdown, breakdown last year, dark night of the soul, 40 days in the wilderness. And I had signed a contract that I was going to do a TV show with Rhonda Liebig every freaking month. I had to be on and up. and say something profound and have something I was going to do to monetize it. And I had nothing to give. I was just in an inner whirlwind tour. And I told you, I said, I don't even want to go tonight. Only thing I want to do is put on my pajamas and say F-U-C-K. And what did you say, Bev?
I said, put on your pajamas, go to this and say F-U-C-K.
That's right. And it was just so priceless. Now, when I told my mom what I was going to do, she got furious.
Yes.
And actually hung up on me on my way over there.
Well,
and was really, really angry. Now, this is just last year. And so we've worked through that, Mom, and I've worked through that. And, but these concepts of trying to be good, do it right, be a good girl is really in my DNA. Super dad, he has a doctoral degree. Super mom, she has a master's. She calls herself a psychologist. Don't get me started on that one. But she has just given to this world above and beyond. My dad was a minister of education. They've run their own businesses. They had over $1.5 million in finances when my mom had a stroke almost 20 years ago, and went to their brink of their experience in their process. But when I was a kid, it was good.
Okay,
I had a blast.
Tell us about that. You know, your childhood, before you're coming out. Who was DrBeth as a child?
I was a little psychologist.
Uh-huh. Really?
I would tell my mom, sit down. Dad, sit down. Did you hear what she said? Did you hear what he said? And I was like the therapist of the entire school. I knew at 8 or 9 that I wanted to be a psychologist. I don't know where I came up with this idea, but I had it in my mind that that's what I wanted to do. I took every class in high school. I went straight into college, took every class in college. Then I went straight into my master's program in clinical psychology. And then all of a sudden, I was like, I can't do this. This is crazy. There was I was in a mental hospital and a dude was following me around saying, you got my slicker? Hey, you got my slicker? And I was like, oh my gosh, I am not prepared for this. Peace out. And I went to Vanderbilt and got my master's in industrial psych. But still at this point in time, I was rebounding from my experience of coming out. But all of that on the surface, that's what I look like. I was a youth choir director. I was a youth director at one church. In another church, I was the coach, the volleyball leader. I drove the church van. I worked at my mom's place and helped her with her daycare center that she owned. I worked with my dad, and he was a consultant, and I worked with him, and had 3 jobs all through junior high, high school, always making money.
Wow.
I mean, I was insane. All I was doing. Like, I would get up and work at the wave pool from 6 in the morning till 10. And then I worked at the Marriott as the lifeguard from 10:30 till like 5. And then I would go to Shoney's and I would work at Shoney's from 5 till 9. And then I would do that.
How old were you then?
I did this all through high school and college. So I'd come home during college summers and do this in the summers. So by the time I was actually 22, I was able to pay for my first house.
That's
so overachiever on steroids.
That's extraordinary. Oh my gosh, that's amazing. So during this time, when exactly did you realize who you are? When did you realize that you were gay?
So you're assuming I've figured that out, right?
Yeah.
It
wasn't like that.
This has been a lifelong journey for me.
Okay, great.
When did I first tell my parents I was in love with a woman, a girl?
Yes. Okay.
I was 14.
All right.
When did I first have my first crush? I don't know, 6, 5. But none of that, all these pieces didn't fit together. Okay. And from 14 for the next 15 years, I broke up and got back together and broke up and got back together with the same person. And in between hand, I dated and had proposals from men, and even had a gentleman when he was marrying someone else say, "Are you sure?" and
Wow.
lots of love. And I love people. I love men. I love
Yeah.
women. I just happened to fall in love with a woman, and I thought I could get over that
Mm.
and fall in love with a guy next time. And then what happened was I fell in love with another woman for 17 years. And then I thought again, I can get over this and be in love with a man because I love men and I'm attracted to, you know, everybody. So why do it? And then I fell in love again for another 8 years. And on the story goes, now I'm actually claiming it. I might screw up and fall in love with a man. So I'm not I'm not going to say anything, but I have fallen in love with 4 women in my life.
Okay, and I, you know me, I'm great with not having any labels per se. It's just so I love the way that you're talking about it, not necessarily as you know that you were in one particular that
Box.
your feelings, yeah, that no boxes and at the end. How did so when you were a teenager? How did your friends respond? How
So
did that work with?
this is what happened. I was like one of the most popular kids. I was the captain of the basketball team. I played volleyball. I played all the sports, and I hit my peak in basketball. We went to the championship, and I had lots of state championship, and I had lots and lots of friends. And then I fell in love at 14. And I started to put more and more and more and more and more and more focus on this one relationship. And my parents started to give me all sorts of grief about it. So finally I said, I need you to understand my feelings towards this girl is like you have feelings towards mom, and you have feelings toward mom, and how you have feelings toward dad. That's how I feel.
Mm.
And they panicked, gave me, I'm not sure what it was, a Quaalude or I don't know what it was. Mom said, I did not. But anyway, she gave me something that calmed me down. She took it, and off to a psychologist we went at midnight.
Wow,
Our
at
families
midnight?
at midnight. So this was one of our family friends, and his take was there's nothing wrong with me. And so that proceeded to go in one ear and out the other with my parents because they were trying to protect me. And
Mm.
part of the reason that I'm doing this interview right now is because I want to protect other kids from having the same experience. And I just want to give one quick example.
Please,
When
yes.
I put this out on the Facebook last week, one mom who is married to a woman whose dad of her 17-year-old is transgender. When her son came out at 17, or when he came out, he had known he was gay several years, like 2 or 3 years before he came out.
Mm-hmm.
And that's being afraid to come out to 2 gay women and a transgendered father.
Wow.
Now, here's the even more wow part. The mama that told me this said it was hard for her to hear it.
Wow.
So
That is
this,
wow.
right? So
Yeah.
this is something that one of the messages I want to give parents is not to feel shame about how they react. Like when I talked to my mom and dad about this and I told them I was doing this, I said, would you guys like to be a part of the interview? And my mom said, I do not. And then on in the conversation, I don't want to talk about this anymore. Like still today, there's so much shame. I said, can I just ask you what it is about not wanting to talk about this?
Mm-hmm.
And my dad said, I think, it's not personal. It's just we feel so bad about what we did and how we did it when you were that age. Now, I would say to them, I am who I am because of what they did.
Yes.
And I'm not a victim of anything in my life, ever. And everything that has happened to me, I've utilized to turn into things that have brought me more strength, more character, and more understanding for other people going through it.
So Dr. Beth, if you could, I mean, I think I'm hearing the answer already. If you could rewrite your life, your teenage years and all of that, and as a young adult, uh, what would it look like? And would you want to rewrite it?
I can tell you how I would rewrite it,
Okay.
and I can tell you no, I wouldn't want to rewrite it.
Okay.
So I don't think there are any mistakes. No mistake, no mistakes. And I also feel very called to share this information. And I
Yes.
think I went through what I went through to give me the experience, the understanding, because I really did have a perfect childhood. I mean, you know, when people talk about having perfect parents that love you, that talk to you, that support you, that see your greatness, you know, everything, everything, everything. I would just give my parents a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10, a 10.
Wow.
And like, for example, when I was in junior high and I'd made an all A's in my midterms, and then it was time to do the finals. And we had a choice for me to take my finals or go to Hawaii for 2 weeks.
Hmm.
Guess what our family decided?
To go to Hawaii for 2 weeks?
And that meant I failed every one of my classes,
Oh.
failed every one of my exams. But when you put an F with an A, that gives you a C.
Mm-hmm.
So, and they wouldn't let me take them. They wouldn't let me take them. They said, if you take your kid out, you're going to get F's on all of this. But I still passed, and I still did great. And look at me today.
Yes.
So
Wow.
I had my mom would say to me, like, just stay home today and play. And I'd say, Mom, I've got to go to school. She's like, come on, make up, just stay home and play. Let's go do something fun. Life's too short. And I would say, Mom, I've got a test. Make the test up. You can make it up. So like I learned these rule breaking, standing me into my greatness from the best. So you might have an inkling of how shocking it was to my spirit and my soul and my psyche when my parents freaked out.
Yes.
Like I would have lost the bet. We had a
Yes.
church that after the minister that was our minister retired, 2 lesbians joined the church. They became the ministers of our church. We had 2 lesbians from the Belmont basketball team stay at our house and keep our dogs. We had best friends that were gay in our family. But for me to be gay, the world crumbled. I was in shock. I was in absolute and total terror and shock. I had no idea of any other gay person on the planet all the way up until when I was about 22, other than the person I was on and off again with.
Really?
Like all my basketball friends that were gay, I didn't know they were gay. All my volleyball friends, the people that I worked with in the lifeguards, several of them were gay. Didn't know. Like nobody talked about it.
Got it. Mm-hmm.
So I felt like an alien. I felt isolated. I felt so terrified. And whenever I would have a normal teenage fight with my girlfriend, I just wanted to die. I couldn't, I had no one to talk to. And my one good friend that had been my friend all through elementary school and into junior high, and her one good friend, we told them and they both dropped us.
Oh my gosh.
So I lost my one best friend.
Ooh.
Terrifying. Wow. It was terrifying. And when I would tell my parents we're broken up, then one time I had a note. That was the only way I could get my parents to leave me alone about it, was to lie. I had my car taken away from me. I had my college threatened to not be able to go to college if I chose to be gay. And my car was given to my brother. My car that I had sold to my brother, which was my old car, was given back to me as a punishment. He crashed my car. I crashed his car. This is my younger brother. And I lied all through those years. So I felt morally horrible.
Yeah.
And I grew up in this extremely church, like we were in church every time the doors were open, we were in church. And I felt like I was just like going to go to hell. And we didn't even believe in hell. And I felt like I was going to go to hell.
Oh my gosh.
So yeah, it was crazy. And I couldn't let anybody know, because as a youth director, I was afraid that they would not let me be a youth director. And so it was like I had two sides. And my whole theme of my whole half of my life was fake it till you make it. Fake it till you make it. And that's how I did life.
Wow. Whew. What would be your message to parents? I heard you say that one of your messages to parents about this is not to be surprised or ashamed of their response, even if it's something that's similar to what you experienced from your parents. Did I get that right?
Exactly.
Okay. And what else would you tell them? Because I mean, if there were something that, like, if I were in that position, I can't imagine. I mean, like, I'm having these feelings about my kid, and at the same time, don't be ashamed of those feelings, and then they're about my kid. It's like, how do parents?
Yeah, it makes your head explode as the parent,
Right.
and it makes your head explode as the kid.
Yeah.
And I have had many of my friends that have known I've been gay since I'm 14 that are now having children. They love me. They love gay people. But when their kid came out, they freaked.
Yeah.
So thank God they called me and said, I know I'm not supposed to freak, but I don't know what to do with these crazy big feelings.
Exactly.
And thank God I have the safety with them that they knew I could hold that love without me judging them for them judging their kid.
Yes. Got it.
So I would say the first thing is I'm not responsible for my first action, my first thought, but I am responsible for my second one once I become conscious of it and once I wake up.
Yes.
And that's when call somebody that can help you through it. Get to PFLAG and get with other parents. Get some support so you don't take it out on the child, because all those things that you say in those early moments of the child coming out,
yes,
will be ingrained in their memory banks. And if you've already done it, the greatest gift you can give your kid is to say, can I have a do-over? Let me tell you what I wish I had done. Had I known what I knew now, then this is what I would have done. And I actually had that experience with my father. He did a Be Proud with me a couple of years ago, where I interviewed him, and he said some things that just healed me. It was like a soothing blanket to go back through the experience and let him say, that's not who I want to be. And I'm sorry. It was just ignorant. I was ignorant. Like all of these things that he said, now those are ingrained in my memories.
Love it. Yes. Wow. Whew. And what about the teens? What about the kids? What's your message to them?
So I was told when I came out that I would never have friends. If I
told by
my parents,
okay,
because they were trying to scare me into not being gay.
Okay.
So you're not going to have friends. You're never going to have money. You're not going to be able to be successful in life. You'll never have kids. You'll never, and just all their worst nightmares and all their fears. It was almost like this is what will happen, almost like a prediction on me. So I'm still unraveling some of that and rewriting my own story on, am I worthy to be out in the public eye? Am I worthy to be successful? Am I worthy to make a living and be of value? Am I worthy to love? Can I have it all? Can I be madly in love and be super successful and have it all? Can I be the greatest, grandest version of myself? Which is what I teach and which is what I bring to the world. We all teach what we're on the cutting edge of learning. And I even worked with this one coach where I said, I feel like a total fraud teaching this stuff when I haven't mastered it all. And she said, Beth, you are swimming through the ocean right now. Parents are going from one side of the swimming pool to the other side of the swimming pool. You know how to do that. You just haven't mastered the open water ocean swim yet.
Brilliant.
So that one was super helpful.
Wow. Okay, so what do you want the kids to do, or what's the message for them? How do they handle this?
The message for the kids is, one, to go get a mentor. Thank you for that, bringing me back.
Oh, no worries. This is fast. This is. I don't even know how to describe how I'm being impacted by you sharing your story. So thank you so much. And yes, please.
Oh, thanks. Thanks for receiving it, and thanks for holding the space with me and having me feel safe to even ask you to do this.
Honored.
One thing, and the reason I have my Facebook page, Be Proud with DrBeth, is I want to interview successful adults so that the parents won't be so terrified that their kids are going to have their lives ruined. And so that the kids will have proof that you can. And that's one of the reasons I wanted to, yammer on the positive stuff up front. If that's success, I've got it. I could die today and say, check, I've been successful. I have more to live because my goal now is to live for my being, not for my doing. And is it okay to be me, all of me, exactly as I am, with big feelings and tears and questions and challenges and rage and all of the things that can come up, while at the same time being a teacher, being a coach, being a leader, being out front, being authentic, raw and real. So I want to be a role model for the kids. And what I would say to the kids is, don't wait until you're in your 50s. Don't wait until you're in your 90s. And for God's sakes, don't kill yourself because of something somebody else says that you're not going to measure up or it's not going to be safe. That is their story. That is their fear. That is their shit. Not yours, not mine. I've only had one time that I have felt bullied for being gay. Now, have people talked behind my back? I'm sure they have, but they were really good at it and I never heard about it. So the greatest bullying experience I've ever felt, you want to guess?
By LGBT, your peers and that? No? Who?
My parents.
Wow, okay.
By their way of protecting me. That's where I had all my homophobia. When I would lie and get caught, my brother would take the note and turn it in to my parents. When my brother had a young son, he didn't want his young son living with me or visiting me with my partner because he didn't want him to be ruined. My dad's brother, who had an oldest daughter who is gay and married, she has her doctorate degree and she's married to a woman who has a doctorate degree, and they have a child in college that speaks 4 languages. Talk about phenomenal. And I mean, they are awesome. And I remember when Christy said to me, because she came out about 28, I came out at 14, she's 10 years younger than me, so however many years ago that was, she said, why didn't you come out? Why didn't you do this? Now she doesn't even remember saying that to me, but I remember having that experience of not being there for her because I did not want her mother to think I had turned her daughter gay.
Mm.
As a child psychologist, I am very cautious to even have kids in my office for fear that something could happen, that someone would say something. And it's part of why I do work the way I do work. When I work with kids, I work with the parents 99% of the time.
Mm. So I have a question about, because my experience with, I have a daughter who's 24 now, and what I always heard her talk about when in terms of sexuality and gender and all of that was that she was, very open about it, and her friends and everything, they seemed to be very open about it. They didn't seem to be judgmental. She has, she has friends who are like all over the board in terms of their sexuality and their gender preference and all of those things. And at least with her group, I never saw any kind of bullying or anything going on. Now I know that it can't be like 100% of what's out there. Do you think though that it's that teens nowadays have a more open environment in terms of knowing who they are and choosing and talking about who they are?
So it's really weird. It's really
Okay.
weird. A friend of mine and I had this conversation, and she can't pass as straight in her world order. She can't pass as straight. I can pass as straight, and I did for years and years and years. So just by not putting a pronoun in the space, or putting the wrong pronoun in the space, no one questioned me. I was just feminine enough and whatever that I could pass as straight or gay. There are some people, especially gay men, gay boys, and dyke really masculine women, girls, that they don't have that option.
Mm-hmm.
And I remember I was on stage with Charla and Jesse, and they said, "Who's ever dealt with being gay?" And this was probably over 20 years ago when I was on, and I put my hand up front, and they said, "Who else has had a lesbian, gay, bi experience?" Well, everybody in the audience came up on stage, except for like 2 or 3 people out of probably 80 people, which was fun, funny, cute, nice, loving, helpful, but no one knew. There is a difference in kissing a girl sometime, or having a feeling or a wet dream, and living your life where you feel weird and an alien and odd and isolated and alone.
Mm.
And those are the kids that I worry about. There are people that have actually even written on my post that are probably gay and they don't even know it to themselves.
Mm.
My family friend of my mom and dad, we grew up and in church. So their daughter was my age and their son was my brother's age. And he was gay. And she, his wife, didn't know about it for over 50 years. Destroyed their family.
Yeah.
He got kicked out of the Southern Baptist Convention. He lost his job. Just recently, I had a man tell me that he has been married to his wife for a long time. He just had an experience, and he has AIDS and he has herpes, and he gave it to his wife. Mm. This is just like within the last, 6 months. So these stories are still out there. The kids are still petrified. Mm-hmm. And I had one person give me a story that was back from church, and her son is in the political realm, and he is working with gay teens, and he didn't want to do his coming out story with me. Mm-hmm. He said, people accept it or they won't. I'm not going to worry about it. There's even the people that are in the trenches are scared. When I went to all the different groups and tried to get the Be Proud, you can have on less than 5 people said that they would be willing to talk.
Wow.
And everybody has their own reason for not talking. Won't do any good. I don't want to hurt my mom. You know, whatever the story. But this is not something that we're all over. And I thought I was over it too. When the law was passed that we could marry. I have had a story my whole life. I don't want to get married, never want to get married, not going to get married, and I'm not going to have the government in my life. I've got a whole story around this and still have that same story. I'm not sure I'd ever even want to get married legally by the government, and I can tell you my story that I've made up. But when they passed that law, I remember where I was in Texas with my girlfriend, all my college buddies, none of them knew I was gay. All the way through college, all 4 years, every single friend that I had did not know I was gay.
Wow.
And when I was at her house visiting, the law was passed, and I just started bawling. I was like, I don't even know why I'm having these big feelings. I don't even want to get married. And then a couple of weeks ago, and one of the reasons this is out right now is somebody sent me a testimonial. And the woman that sent the testimonial said, you know, there's laws of blah, blah, blah. And she just said one little statement about homosexuality, and it knocked me out. And I'm like, okay, maybe there's still some feelings here. So that's why I'm doing this.
Wow. I have a question about the LGBTQ community. How is your relationship within the community, or have you been impacted in any particular ways that you want to talk about?
So I have never really, a lot of times in the community, I don't see myself the same as the community. There are a lot of gay women that hate men. And there's a ton of bias within our community. Like if you're gay or bi, you don't get to go to the same party.
Interesting.
If you've been with a man and now with a woman, or you've been with a woman and like there's all sorts of scary rules even within our own community. So there's a lot of pain and a lot of fear, and I don't even feel like I fit into my own community.
That's interesting. Yeah. Oh my gosh. Do you have any feelings about what could change, or how you might invite people within that community to, I mean, what?
Well, my invitation is for all of us to just tell the truth.
Okay.
Like, we've all had a different coming out story. We all have a different experience. Some people knew they were gay the moment they were born. Some people didn't know they were gay until they were 60 or 80 or 90. Some people are gay and then they decide they're straight. Some people are straight and then they decide they're gay. To blame anybody on this story can make everybody feel like they're a failure. Can you hear the barking? All right, hold on. Let me get him real quick.
Okay.
Okay.
So truth telling, you feel, is the best for everybody involved.
Yeah.
To tell the truth.
Secrets kill.
They
They
do. Yeah,
kill. And when we can be loved and accepted for who we are, it's like the best healing on the planet.
definitely. So what's next for you? I mean, how do you feel about where you are now, and what do you feel called to do? I know that we're doing this interview because you have felt called to talk about, your experiences, who you are, parents, what they can do, kids, what they can do, how they can, um, be so much more supportive and aware, and help each other through the teen years are difficult no matter what. And then when you
Exactly.
add this to the mix, it's something else. So what are you being called to do, and what's next?
Well, I am actually figuring that out as we speak. I can tell you my heart is so passionate and huge on this front. I would be willing to walk in front of a bus on this. I feel like
Mm,
um, I've had my life, and um, I'm willing to do whatever it takes with this cause to make a
wow.
difference for kids and for children and for teens and for parents, not to go through the hurt and the pain and the hell and the shame and the second guessing themselves even 50 years later.
Mm,
So I really want to make a difference in this realm. I don't want to minimize all the other thousands of millions of parents that I can help that aren't gay, because I am gay. But now I'm willing to step into this place. And if a parent doesn't want to, it wants to invalidate who I am as DrBeth, America's teenologist, because of that, I'm willing to say, you're not my client, and I bless you and I release you. And I hope you find another coach and another teacher. For those that are willing to understand that who I am today, swimming across a swimming pool, when you're talking about some of the normal parent-teen issues, when you compare it to the LGBTQ challenges that many of us have gone through.
well, that's so awesome, Dr. Beth. And I want to say, from my personal experience, I've seen you work with both kids and parents, and about, whatever the issue is, and you are so extraordinary in what you do and how you do it. The parents can hear you, and they can immediately identify with what you're talking about, and they just get it. I see light bulbs go off in their head, and then they go and do what you say for them to do, and they come back with these amazing stories of how everything has shifted. And the kids as well, I mean, they respond to you so readily, in terms of, like, this woman may be older than I am, and etc., and she knows what she's talking about. She
Yeah.
really gets me. She really knows what's going on. And you're extraordinary in
Thanks,
that
Beth.
respect.
Thanks.
You're so welcome. And regardless of what the issue is that the parents and teens are dealing with, you're magical and miraculous in terms of what you're able to see in the situation, and the practical and the quick and the immediate relief to what's going on. Extraordinary. So I trust that anybody who is watching this, if they're a parent, will, or a teen, and being gay is not on the horizon for them, that they still understand how amazing you are, because I'd never heard the word teenologist until I met you, and I totally get that. I don't know if you're the only one. To me, you'd be like the number one teenologist in America, definitely.
Well,
So
thanks. One of the things that I do is I bring uncommon sense, uncommon common sense.
brilliant.
So once you hear a lot of the things that I teach, it is instantaneous light bulbs, but
Yes.
hasn't been in our field. And I really feel like I'm here to bring this message. because every one of us have felt gay in some way.
Yeah.
We felt closeted in some way. And even when you did your post and said, I'm coming out, and you weren't even talking about gay, that was, you know, challenged and questioned, that you're stealing the gay word.
Yes, that was interesting.
I would bless you with that. I think we're all coming out.
Agreed. Amen to that. Yes, there's something that you're right. There's something that we're closeted about. I mean, most of us as adults, we walk around with these different masks and everything that because we don't think it's okay to be this or okay to be that. So each of us has that experience in one way or another. That's something about us that's not okay. And I really love that you're doing this, because it also gives everyone out there permission to tell the truth.
Yes.
Regardless of who you are, what your closet was, or is, it's time to come out and tell the truth about who you are and what you're doing.
And love yourself. Love
Yes.
yourself, love yourself, love yourself with whatever that closeted thing is. And if you're a parent that can love that kid and whatever their closeted thing is, it makes it so much easier, because there's African American kids with African American parents. They have a common language. There's Jewish kids with Jewish parents, common language. Every ethnicity. But with gay kids, most of the time, they have straight parents.
Mm-hmm.
So you're all alone in that one horrific, terrible, branded secret.
Wow. Wow. Whew. Well, this has been an outstanding and provocative and passionate discussion that we've had here, and I've been hanging on every single word. It's been amazing for me, and I think that what I'd like to know now is how do people get in touch with you, or what kind of resources do you have for parents and teens, and how do they know where to go?
Well, you know, I think part of my fear has been being found. And actually, I am just now starting to have the technology come together, hopefully within the week. But you can go to DrBeth.com, DrBeth.com, and I have free resources, free stuff in the bar. You can get my Mom's Choice Award-winning book right there as an ebook for free. I have a YouTube channel, DrBeth CP, for compassionate parenting, DrBeth's Compassionate Parenting, DrBeth CP. That's my YouTube channel. I have lots of videos, also free. I have a new course, DrBeth YOU, because people are always talking about, hey, I'm going to DrBeth you, or the parents call me and say my kids were DrBeth and their friends. So I have DrBeth YOU or DrBeth you. It goes the same place, and have a bunch of courses there. Every Tuesday, I have a power hour, which is getting yourself back in your power with yourself, with your spouse, with your teens. I have teens and young adults that participate, and I just finished one just a few minutes ago. So the second and the fourth Tuesday of the month, I also do one, and have quite a few teens and young adults that come on. And then lots of courses, lots of ways you can engage with me. And I am about making a difference in this world. I have no idea what's next. Maybe I will be a spokesperson in this arena. I have a vision to take my Double Dog Dare Challenge, let the next generation shine across the country, and go to schools and churches and book sites. So sky's the limit. Who knows what's next, Bev?
I love that. Love your passion, love your commitment, love your willingness to tell the truth no matter what, and to show up as who you are. And I would ask one final question of you. How do you feel about who you are right now in this moment?
I love that. I am super proud of me right this minute. I'm super, super proud of who I am, what I've done, who I've become, the love that I have for myself, for my parents, and for all the parents and clients and kids and even the people that hate me, even the haters. I have so much love because I know what's underneath the hate is so much fear and so much hurt.
Yes.
So
Yes.
I'm proud of how far I've come, and I feel really, really great about my life. And I love you to pieces.
Well said, and I totally return that love, Dr. Beth, and thank you so much for spending this time and you're sharing your heart and who you are, and I love that you're being so badass about telling the truth and being committed to changing the paradigm because it's in need of that, and you are one of the angels doing the work. So thank you so much. And for everyone out there, thank you for joining us, and go see Dr. Beth because she is a master on this planet and of service to everyone who needs her. She's there for you. Thanks again.
Thank you, Beverly Adamo. Much love, my friend.